everyone, today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the iRobot Roomba 671 Robot Vacuum Cleaner. I did purchase this product myself, and any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Take a look at the retail box and packaging. Everything looks great. Very simple product packaging with great imagery on it. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of safety information as well as warranty info. This does come with a 1-year warranty. Lastly, we have a getting started guide right here with a couple simple setup steps in multiple languages, helping you get up and running with your new Roomba. Next, you'll see we have our home station and charging base right here. Indicator light, iRobot logo and branding. There's where the power cord's going to plug in. We'll show it from all different sides and angles. Here's our power cord and cable, just your standard universal power cord, which is great. And then last but not least, the 671. Let's look at this in more detail. Starting with the top of the 671, you'll notice front and center we have 3 cleaning buttons in silver: spot button, clean button, and dock button. The clean button is also serving a purpose as the power button for your Roomba. iRobot Roomba branding down towards the bottom. We have a glossy black finish. This half circle here is actually a built-in handle, so we can easily carry this from floor to floor or room to room as we conduct our cleaning. At the very bottom, we have a little eject button here that reveals our Aero Vac bin. Take a look at that bin, transparent underside so we can see when it's full. This little yellow indicator lets us know where we can open it up. Same for the blue filter here, the little yellow ends, so we can clean and replace as needed. That's a look inside the dustbin. Pretty cool. And that just slides right back in the top. Now making our way around the side of the Roomba, this is the very front with our navigational bumper and array of sensors. We're moving along to the side and the very back where we have our exhaust. Now we're looking at the other side, our sensor array again, and we're back to the front. And lastly, the underside of the Roomba. So we have our omnidirectional wheel, charging contacts, cliff sensors, side cleaning brush, 2 spring-loaded drive wheels. Then we have our main 3-stage cleaning system. So we have our dual brushes right here. One's going to be your bristle brush. One's going to be more of a rubber agitator. This also has some play with it, so it will be able to help self-level depending on the condition of your floors. We have additional product info right here. We have this yellow tab that we can pull to remove, and that's going to activate the battery for us right there. And we saw this earlier, but take a look at the underside of the dustbin with that transparent finish so we can see through and into it. If you ever need to clean or maintain the 2 rollers, you got the little yellow levers right there, and then we can open it up to easily grab, replace, detangle, and clean as needed. Then that just snaps right back shut. And I don't know if I pointed this out already or not, but we have the 671 branding right there, kind of tucked away underneath the vacuum. Now let's go ahead and try it out. we just finished our first clean. Let's take a look at the results. So let's go ahead. We'll pop open the dustbin right here. And boy, oh boy, is that thing already jammed full of pet hair and human hair. I have 3 long-haired individuals in my house, and we have a long-haired dog. And look at how full that is. Let's go ahead. Let's pop it open even further. And you'll notice we have some of our crumbs and larger debris down at the bottom. And really quickly, if I don't spill a lot of it out, we'll turn it upside down so you can see the underneath right here. And for good measure, let's go ahead and dump it out. So we'll try to empty it as gently as we can in here. Take a look at that. So inside the dustbin on our filter there, we have some really fine dirt and dust that's been trapped, which is great to see. You want all of that to collect in this filter versus being exhausted back out through your house. Never a bad idea to dust this off every once in a while. It can't hurt. Same with the inside of the dustbin if you want to rinse that out with the filter removed. Also, looking at our contents, all of our hair and crumbs are right here. I see a sticker. I see some carpet fuzz, leaves, grass clippings, tons of crumbs, some of the larger particles down at the bottom there from our household. So pretty impressive just after one 90-minute clean. That's it. Everything that we were able to pick up around our house. Count me impressed. Don't think I forgot about the underside of the vacuum. We definitely need to check out the rest of the cleaning system. Side cleaning brush as expected. We already have some hair tangles there. Very normal on any model of Roomba or robot vac for that matter that has a side cleaning brush. Looks like we have a couple of fibers collecting in the omnidirectional wheel. Actually, I haven't seen that before in any of the other 600 series. So we just must have a very, very hairy household to even get some of that recently. So keep an eye on that as well. And then the main roller system right here with our 2 roller design. This is where you're going to see a lot of tangles for pet hair. So if that's your biggest concern and pet peeve with your robot vac or what you expect to be in the future, iRobot with their Roomba series, the I and the J series, they've redesigned this in those models with what they call the Aeroforce cleaning system that has dual rubber brushes that basically eliminates any hair tangles going forward. But if you can tolerate this, you really can't beat this system in regards to its performance for what you're paying. And although it really does collect a lot of hair here, these bristles are great for actually agitating your carpet and lifting those hairs up and out of the way. So kind of a double-edged sword there, but that's what you can expect. Again, that's just after one pass, so you will want to keep an eye on that. iRobot even makes tools to easily detangle and clean the brush. It's a little red piece of plastic that basically can slide through and it detangles everything very easily. And we'll look at it from this side here too. But what I've expected and come to expect with the 600 series Roombas holds true with the 671. Now let's go over the iRobot app. This will just be a brief overview. So we have the 671 all set up and ready to go. Really interesting that the product image technically doesn't fully match. That's a slightly different design than what the 671 actually is. You'll notice though, right below that image, we have our battery indicator right there, our current job that's paused. We could press play to resume, or we could send it back home. We have a favorites section right here, so you can set that up where you want it to vacuum. So we could add a new one right here. Basically, you could set a time limit and you can color code it and enter a name. That's all the functionality we'll get with the 600 series vacuums. Next, we have a schedule, so you can set up a schedule to let it run. So set it and forget about it. Toggle those on and off. You could also schedule do not disturb. And further down, we have our cleaning history here, so we can select that, see the lifetime total of jobs, how many dirt events we had, total run time, how each job ended. So we can see this one right here. Hour 43 minutes, canceled, 9 dirt events. 42 minutes, 9 dirt events. You get the idea. So we can quickly look at our cleaning history there and get a nice breakdown. Next, we have our messages. Those will show up right there, but we're all caught up. Further down, we have product health. Nothing is populated yet, but that will give you a breakdown of when it's time to do some routine maintenance. Then we have our vacuum settings here. We can learn more about our particular vacuum. We can locate it if it's lost. Language settings, reboot, Wi-Fi, reconnect, or change Wi-Fi. All of that can be accomplished under this section right there. And then further down, owner's guide if you need any help accessing your manual, help section. And then we have iRobot beta. If there's ever any beta features for this particular vacuum, you can enable them right there. Typically you find that for like the more advanced series, like the J series Roombas, you'll get some fun little beta features right there. But it's a very simple app with super basic functionality. There's no mapping, there's no room cleaning or zone cleaning or anything like that. Basically, use your phone to start a clean or send it home or put it on a schedule and forget about it. I don't know about you, but I'm wondering how this stacks up against the competition, so let's find out. We'll be looking at it through two different lenses. The first lens is going to be to similarly priced robot vacuum cleaners. The second one's going to be the overall running average for the over 60 plus robot vacs that we've personally tested. So let's look at that data now. First up will be max suction power. Now, iRobot never publishes this information, so we have nothing to go on besides the typical averages. So I would expect this to be similar, or actually probably less than your average similarly priced vacuum, which is coming in right around that 3,000 PA mark. Typically, if they're not advertising, I'm guessing that's because it's underpowered, but they've never published any of their suction power for any of their models. Anyways, we're probably around or below that average, and you'll see the typical average is still about 2,000 PAs more. Usually you want to see a higher value here. It doesn't always, but usually it leads to a better real world clean. Same can be said for max CFM. The higher the better. This result we record in-house, so we are able to get that data to look at. So, not surprisingly here, the 692 and the 694, which is the spiritual successor to the 671, got the same CFM as our 671. It's going to be below average. You'll see the average is actually still pretty close to the overall average, but we're about 2 points less for the 671. The data's great and all, but how does it actually do in the real world? This is why it's always great to have a test like this to see what we're looking at in a real world environment. So using our carpet deep cleaning test, we got a fantastic, I should say phenomenal score for this vacuum cleaner. 90 out of 100 compared to the average in this ballpark of only 77. And you'll notice it actually beat out the overall average of 85. So 5 points above your typical robot vacuum cleaner. And then you'll notice about a 13-point difference compared to similarly spec'd and priced robot vacuum cleaners. Next up is decibels. With this result, the higher the value, the louder your vacuum will be. This peaked at 79 decibels. It's definitely on the louder side, but having this vacuum in a room with a 69 decibel vacuum cleaner or a 70 decibel vacuum cleaner, not really sure most of you would be able to tell a difference. You're going to be able to hear the robot vacuum cleaner regardless, and at this volume level, it's not ear piercing or anything like that. I wouldn't really want to be watching TV in the room with any of these vacuum cleaners, but it's not going to be any more unbearable or bothersome, in my opinion, versus your typical average vacuum coming in that 69 or 70 range. Moving right along to battery life, this is measured in minutes. We have a 90-minute runtime, give or take a couple minutes on both sides, depending on your home environment. That's going to be over 35 minutes below similarly priced vacuums, and 70 minutes below your average robot vac. And with a lot of those advanced upper end vacuums, I should say mid-tier to upper end, it's a pretty standard feature now. They're smart enough to recharge and resume. We don't have that functionality with this vacuum. It is smart enough to go back home and recharge, but it won't resume the clean from where it left off. And a reason why we have lower runtimes is due to our battery capacity. This is measured in milliamp hours. 1800 milliamp hour battery capacity, 400 milliamps below similarly priced vacuums, and less than half the capacity of your typical average robot vac. You might call this an added benefit of a budget-friendly vacuum like this. It's the height. Typically on these budget-friendly vacuums, they're not using the latest and greatest sensors for navigation, specifically LiDAR, which is a laser mounted up at the top of the vacuum. So therefore you get a lower height. So if you have furniture in hard to reach areas, this vacuum might be able to fit under it where other vacuums can't. This comes in at 3.5 inches tall compared to similar vacuums like this at 3.4. I think that has to do with this little sensor up at the very top here on our front bumper, giving us that 0.1 inch difference. But there are some vacuums that are even a little bit smaller than this, about that 3 to 2.9 inches, about the lowest we've seen. And your average SKU is just a smidge higher at 3.6, because that includes a great mix of vacuums like this, as well as those upper end mid-tier models that have LiDAR navigation with that laser module up at the top, adding some additional height. And we're not done yet. Next, let's talk about bin capacity measured in milliliters. The larger this value, the more dust and debris it's able to hold before you have to go and empty it. 350 milliliters compared to similarly priced vacuums at 480, so about 130 milliliters difference. So that means you're going to be making more trips to the wastebasket or trash can with your 671 than you would with your other similar competitors. And compared to the overall average, you'll actually notice that this skews lower than the similarly priced ones, because this mix at the higher values includes a lot of self-empty units. And when it self-empties, you tend to find even smaller dustbins on those models because they can go back home and empty after every clean, or sometimes even during the clean. So it really makes that larger capacity not necessary. And then last but not least, let's talk about cost. So you'll see this is a very budget-friendly and affordable robot vacuum cleaner. We get really good real-world cleaning performance, and you're really not paying for it compared to the average. Now, that price skews higher for your typical or average RoboVac because it's jam-packed full of a lot of great features: advanced mapping, navigation, object recognition. A lot have mopping, some even have mop washing. Don't forget about self-empty, and all of that adds to the price point. But from a strictly performance perspective, if you're okay foregoing a lot of those features, this offers really good value. So where's that leave us with the iRobot Roomba 671? Well, let me share with you my final thoughts on this robot vacuum. So first, the things this does really well, it actually cleans great. So even though it would be underpowered from like a suction or CFM standpoint, it does a really good job in the real world, getting up hair, dirt, dust, and debris, thanks to that 3-stage cleaning system. For what this vacuum is, they really get a lot out of it. So compared to the competition, if everything else is equal, this is the way to go. Far superior cleaning in a day-to-day real-world environment. I don't care what the specs say on other models. Other than that, though, very basic feature set, so you are going to be limited in what it's able to do. This is great for truly just I need something to vacuum up this area by putting on the spot clean, or just want it to vacuum up your house, but your house has to be pretty tidy due to the lack of advanced object recognition, navigation, things like that. The software or hardware is what's going to be holding this back versus any sort of cleaning performance. But on that end, iRobot has all of those other great features. You just have to pay for them. So basic robot vac functionality, your starter vac, your entry vac, whatever it may be, this is going to be a solid choice. If you're wondering about this versus the 675, from what I can tell, this is just the Amazon branded version of that. So no noticeable difference in anything about the vacuum itself. Same with the 692 or 694. If you're looking at those vacuums, I would personally just get whatever one is most affordable at the time you're considering to purchase. So that should be your deciding factor. You can expect very similar performance. Besides the outdated hardware and software features that are absent, but again, as mentioned, you can get them on other newer iRobot models. The biggest hurdle with this vacuum is going to be hair maintenance. This is a hair magnet, which is great. It's getting it up and off your floor, but it's getting tangled on that brush. So just know that if you're buying this vacuum, you have a lot of hairy humans and pets in your house, you need to be maintaining that brush roller very, very frequently to get the best optimal performance every time. So invest in their brush cleaning kit, or get a good pair of scissors and spend some time yourself always detangling that brush. So if hair is your biggest concern, it might be worthwhile for you to upgrade to their I or J series devices that have the dual rubber brush Aero Force cleaning system, because that won't have any of the tangles that you get with the 600 series Roombas. So that's what you need to know. Budget friendly option, you'll be happy with it. It just doesn't have any of the latest and greatest features to help you make your life easier in regards to self-empty, navigating around your house, or anything like that, but strictly cleaning your floors. Nothing wrong with it at all, but it will attract a lot of hair, so make sure you're prepared to clean this frequently.